Okay, so we have two sets of guidelines when working with calligraphy. There are horizontal guidelines, and then there's also vertical guidelines. So the first, I've pre-drawn them just for ease, but so the first line is the baseline. That'll be this black one. Oh boy. That's this black one here. This is the main line that all the letters touch and rest on. This is our point of reference for the rest of the lines. Next we have the X height. This is above the baseline. This is a guide that shows how tall the main body of the letters will be. As I said, this area is the most visible part of a block of text. Only some letters will be capital and only some will go above and below these lines. From far away, the text typically looks like one shape with continuity. Next is the ascender line. That's this red line right here. Ascend means go upward. So this line is the height of most letters that extend above. So that would be the letter B or L or F. And then, of course, there's the descending line, the second red line. Descender line. And this will be, descend means to go down. So that'll be any strokes that go from here downward, like for G or J or P. To get more like nuanced and specific, there's also actually a first ascender line and a second descender line, because letters like T and D don't go all the way up, and that just kind of gives, they don't go all the way up to the top ascender line, and that gives the script its character and continuity throughout. Okay, so then the second set of guidelines are the vertical lines. They're called the slant lines, and they can help you keep the tilt of your letters consistent as you work. If the script is vertical, like italic that I'm working with here, then the lines will be vertical. We measure the slant of a script in degrees. So for example, for Spencerian script, here's a guide sheet, and the slant lines are at 52 degrees. For copperplate, they're at 55. So you'll see there's still the horizontal lines that you would mark as the baseline, the X height, and the ascending line. And then there's also these slant lines that will give you the tilt of the script. Slant lines can also show you how wide to make your letters. So it's important to pay attention to both. So below that, I've drawn guidelines in pencil. And you want to draw your guidelines in pencil lightly for two reasons. The first reason is that if they're real heavy guidelines, then they're going to interfere with the way that you are viewing your letters. Like, lines close up space, and so it changes the shapes that you see in your letters. And secondly, when you move on to making more final pieces, maybe on a fine paper, then they're going to be harder to erase. See the difference? Okay, so do get in the habit of lightening up your pressure when drawing guidelines. Okay, so how do I know with a broad edge script how big to make like how far apart to space the lines? We work with something called a module. So this is a broad edge nib, and the distance from, the distance from one corner of the nib to the other corner of the nib is called the pen width, or the nib width. And each broad edge script has its own definition and measurement of how big to make, or how many pen widths tall the different spaces will be. So I have a double-ended zig marker here. So this is how you do that. You hold the pen vertical. It's going to be perpendicular to the baseline because I'm working with a vertical script here. Place it and then just pull it. 1, you can make a mark or you could make another square. 2, 3, whoops, 3, you want to make sure you're getting the nib, the full length of the nib on the page. 4 and 5. Okay, so that's going to be the body height of the letters. And then the ascending line will be 4 nib widths. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the descending area will also be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Apparently I don't normally do them like this. I do. I draw them like this normally. Okay. And then another important measurement here, or the other important measurement, let's see, is, is the pen angle. I happen to have the pen angle already printed on these. These are from John Neal books. And the reason this is important to have on your page is so as you're working, you can check the angle of your pen against it and turn it. Don't turn it with your hand. Use your non-writing hand to turn the pen in your hand. That way you're not going to return your grip to how it was before. It's more accurate this way. And so the module and the pen angle are two tools that help you to create the shapes of the script. So these are measured in degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 45. If you don't have a protractor handy, you can draw a square. I mean, of course, I'm already on graph paper here, but you can, let's see if you can see what I'm doing. How about that? You have your square. Okay. So from corner to corner, that's going to be 45. If you draw two squares next to each other, from corner to corner, that's 30 degrees. So 45 will be for scripts like Gothic textura. For italic script, 30 degrees is going to be more for foundational and unschulm. And it's important to have your guidelines drawn out and to have your pen angle available to you for a couple reasons. One, it's so that your mind isn't trying to figure out how far to go, how far down or up to make your letters. Good grief. And then also, you don't have to pay attention as much to the pen angle. So for example, it is this one. Here I'm learning this script, so that's why it looks so experimental here. I'm learning italic. And so I was testing a new X height here. I had remeasured it on one of my other practice pages. And so you can see, I can't really tell here which line I'm trying to hit. So my eyes are looking here as I'm traveling with my nib down this way. So I'm not thinking about this area. I'm thinking about this as my hand is moving. So to me, that's why it's important for me to work with guidelines. So I already know, like, my mind knows that this is where I'm headed, or that this is where I'm headed. So as I'm working, I can be thinking about, I can be looking at my pen and thinking about the shape that I'm trying to make as I'm moving it, rather than like, trying to figure out where I'm going. It's already there. I don't have to worry about that. My mind has fewer and fewer jobs to do the more structure I have in place here.